let's get to the topic. So as I mentioned earlier, we already talked about a bit of customer strategy. I really wanted to maintain that Firechat because after talking with Ziad, I got the feeling that Contentsquare got some sort of specific organization about customer success and so on. So I think we're gonna get some real valuable insight. Before actually getting to the topic, Ziad, can you just say a few words, introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I've been in SaaS and in digital marketing for almost 12 years now. I've started in a startup that became a big company afterwards, which was Email Vision Smart Focus, was a SaaS platform in email marketing, actually. And with this company, I traveled in a lot of places. I had the opportunity to live abroad as well, mainly in China and in Mexico, for example. And then I came back in Europe, and I joined actually Adobe, where I managed customer success organization in Southern Europe for 4 years. And lately, actually 2 years ago, I joined Contentsquare right after the first raise fund. That was 20 million in 2016, and later on we raised 40 million in early 2018. And I'm managing the global customer success organization, which actually covers 80 people based in 5 different countries, mainly in France, UK, and the US. So half of my time mainly is in joining the team and customers in different countries. So quite a solid background in digital and international customers. As for Contentsquare, for those who do not know the company, actually we are a leader in user experience analytics. So we're quite complementary to what Google Analytics does or to what Adobe Analytics does, but actually we're more focused on the KPIs and the data around user experience. And we help customers improving their experience or the experience they offer to their customers on the website, and actually replacing the physical salesperson in the shop. And the more you spend time on the website, the more you're engaged, the more you visit pages and products. That means that the more you're engaged with the brand and the more you convert. And actually all these KPIs are offered by Contentsquare, and probably we'll talk a little bit later about the story of the company. But this is mainly the message on improving customer experience, which is a hot topic nowadays.
Cool. When I was saying that maybe we're going to find out that Contentsquare, a specific organization of customer success, actually you are not only in charge of, let's say, per se, customer success, but you are working as well with all the integration guys, the guys doing trainings. Can you tell us a bit more about it?
So when I mentioned 80 people, actually we do not have 80 CSMs or 80 customer success managers. It's the customer success organization as a global.
I think that point is important.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what I have decided since joining Contentsquare, and when we were shifting from a service company to a software company or into the SaaS business model, we have drawn what we call today a customer journey. So which is the different stages, the mandatory stages where every single customer will go through. So it starts obviously after the sales closing or after the deal is signed, we go through the onboarding phase, which covers obviously the training or the kickoff, let's say, where we define the objectives and the reasons why the customers has decided to work with us. And then we go through the training program, we go through the certification program, and at last we start working about the adoption and the value positioning of the tool, right? So all these stages are attributed to different teams. So we have an implementation team who's doing the integration of the solution. We have a training team, obviously. We have a customer success team, but we also have the customer satisfaction team or the customer care who is dealing with support and with when it comes to critical or important technical topics that the customers are raising. We cover this as well in the customer success organization. And last but not least, we have some services also, teams who are dedicated to manage the customer's data around data analytics, or we do a full audit of the website and giving insights. We also offer UI and UX resources and consultancy work as well to support our customers in improving the UI and UX of the website as well, combined with the data. So the data is the core of our work, and we use the data, we leverage the data, and actually what we usually say, without data, it's just another opinion. So when you sit with a customer in a room and you say, I think that this button should be of this color, or I think that the page should be with this designs, it's his personal opinion. But when you combine the opinion with data, it's much more powerful. And this is exactly where we position ourselves and supporting our customers in improving the experience and improving the ROI of the website.
Okay, cool. If we're talking about customer touch of point, and especially on the sales side, tell me if I'm wrong, but at Contentsquare, so you got sales were being the first touch of point with prospect, obviously. You got customer success guys, but there is no, let's say, key account manager, and that sort of thing. So there is a key role for the customer success manager, right?
Yeah. So, and in the customer success organization, the CSM is the person who is owning the relationship with the customer. So the way I love defining the CSM role is actually they are a conductor. So they are on the head of a team who is playing a different instruments or different musics, let's say, which is different services actually. And this CSM is doing the bridge or playing the bridge between the customers and our teams. So he's being the conductor and attributing the right resources, the right ideas, the right communication, in sharing the roadmap, the product roadmap, in facilitating escalations when it comes to critical situations, let's say, or as well when it comes to be more strategic in showing the value or improving the adoption around the tool. So the CSM is actually the one who is managing the external relationships. Actually, when it comes to services and data analysts and support that I mentioned earlier, there are people who are managing the internal stuff for customers and in order to make the customers happy and improve our customer experience, obviously.
Okay, great. Contentsquare, so far it's one product, right?
Yes.
Okay. And no matter if I'm a small company, client, customer of Contentsquare, or I would say bigger, you got the same process, no matter of the vertical, of the expecting, I don't know, ACV. Is there some sort of difference of treatment, nurturing, and so on?
Yeah, it's a classical question, actually. I'm
sorry to be classical.
No, I think it's a classical in SaaS.
I'm kidding.
Actually, in SaaS and generally in customer success, we're always challenged on, are we tiering our accounts? That means, are we saying that this is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 based on priority in terms of revenue or on branding or whatsoever, or by vertical? And actually, this is a philosophy that most of the time is more justified in big companies when it comes to managing budgets and explaining that for customers who are generating more, let's say, than plus $1 million, we need to have a dedicated resource. But when it comes to customers generating, let's say, 100,000, we can give 40 of them to one CSM, and he will be managing as a batch approach of these customers. We didn't want to adopt this philosophy at Contentsquare because we do not want to differentiate between big and small customer. We do not consider there is a big and small customer. We consider actually that a small customer can grow super quickly and can increase its value or its engagement or the way he's adopting the tool or his investment on our solutions or on the network or the ecosystem that we're proposing to our customers as much as a big company, right? And same when we can have also big names that they are paying very small value, but all of a sudden, if you make a very successful job, we can expand these customers internationally or in different departments. And this is why we didn't want to tier or to classify our customers by level of revenue. This is first answer. The second one is related to verticals. And this is back actually to the conversation that occurred 2 sessions away, actually, when it comes to how do you scale your tech organization. And it's exactly the same for CSMs or for customer success. Like, how do we retain our talents if we don't challenge them and if we don't offer them a proper challenge or a stimulating opportunity for their technical skills, but also for their relationship with customers and for the culture they have in business. And we have decided as well to offer to our CSMs the possibility to manage different type of verticals. So we have CSMs who are capable to manage tourism, finance, telco, and etc. We mixed it on purpose. Maybe one day we will be obliged in some way because there will be a level of expertise or someone on telco side who needs to talk to a telco expert, for example. But for the time being, and most probably for the coming 2 to 3 years, that's for sure, the CSMs that we have at Contentsquare will be covering and managing all type of customers without any distinctions. It should be in size or in vertical.
Cool. When we're talking on a daily basis with startups, we often get the feeling that one of the main concern, one of the main question is at what stage my customer success should play in the game, should get in the game after the sales. So is there any, I don't know, after sales, when they're gonna come and operate on the account?
So this is pretty interesting because again, the way we position our CSMs is more the friend of the customer, rather someone representing the company as a resource on which we're investing money, and we need to generate money from this customer or from this resource. And again, back to the definition I gave earlier, a CSM is a mortgage conductor, but it's also an insurance that we subscribe to any customers in SaaS. The role of the CSM and the way we finance a CSM, because I hear it many times that the CSM is more a cost center in an organization, which is totally wrong. Because the more you improve your retention, the more you earn money actually. And it's basic mathematics. If you fix, for example, an objective of 92% of retention rate, and actually you close your year with 95% of retention rate, which is improved by 3% your retention, it's an equivalent to 10% growth in your business, right? So obviously the CSM is also generating money. It's an indirect sales profile. And the way we push our CSM to manage the customers is to be super close to them, to try to understand, not only focusing on adoption, but also showing the value of the tool. And this is a recurring topic as well, where every time we talk to a customer that is up to renew his contract, he say, okay, I don't get the ROI. So our focus actually is to try build a plan from the beginning, or from the kickoff, or from the very first stages or discussions with customers. And one of the challenges that I fix to my team is like, hey, if you want to talk about value, please don't talk only about money. Like, I don't want to hear customers saying, I have invested, let's say, $100,000, how much did it generate to me? And sometimes the value is not necessarily measurable. It can be value around change management. It can be value about digital impact or the way it's integrated in his ecosystem. It can be value, we saw it actually earlier with Jonathan on Air Call about integrations and stickiness, right? And it can be value obviously about money and how much it's generating. Right? And we see it actually, one of my favorite customers, like I don't have a favorite customers, but the favorite example that I see with the key customers that we manage at Contentsquare is Walmart in the US. Every time I go and meet with them, they are so mature and advanced that every time they tell me, I don't want you to give me numbers in terms of money. Show me how you're breaking silos and making my UX, my UI, my data, my marketing, my sales teams, and e-commerce team working together through the data that Contentsquare is capable to offer. And this is a value that we need to show. And trust me, it's sometimes very much more challenging to show value on how we're breaking silos and making team working together than showing how much money they are earning thanks to our solution, right? So this is why we're pushing our customers, success managers, to be more, I heard it actually as well earlier on being more technical and solution expert, which is very true. But our philosophy as well is to be very close on all the challenges the customer is having, especially that we are in the era where we go through a lot of digital transformation and teams transformations and company structures. And this is exactly where we can position ourselves, typically around a solution like Contentsquare.
Great, clear. When we are thinking about customer success, where it triggers the mind of retention, what about upsell? Would that be, it would be directly impact in this KPI about upsell when you're saying, well, there is a huge potential ACV with that guy. So what about adding new perimeters? I am the lead orchestra as a customer success or not?
So should be retention, cross-sell, and upsell. In my humble opinion, and it's only my opinion, sometimes I fight with my CEO on this, I think it should not be an objective, it's a consequence of what you do, right? I cannot tell my objective is to have 100% of retention rate. I can do whatever it takes to deliver 100% of retention rate as a result. And this is why also in our customer success organization, we decided not to involve CSMs in sales discussion. And they are super close to customers and friend of customers, and customers are happy to share insights that are not necessarily comfortable in sharing them with sales, right? So this is one. Two, the retention rate, again, is a result of all what I have explained earlier. Is a result of the value that the customer is getting from the tool. Is a result of the way the teams and customers organization are adopting the tool. And same for upsell. If they don't get the value, they won't buy in. And upsell can be actually adding more features, right? So they get the value of it. It can be also integrating the solution with a different solution in the market. This is also getting the value of it. As for the cross-sell, it's also the word of mouth. So it's the feedback. They can be cross-selling our solution in different countries with the same brand, or different organization with the same brand. So if the organization or the team that is working on our tool is not happy and not capable or at ease in communicating positively on our tool, we won't be capable to cross-sell. So this is exactly the same story, but as always, it's a consequence and cannot be only a sales strategy. The sales is here to support in accelerating on the deal or accelerating on the demo or accelerating on sales discussions when it comes to legal or convincing C-level and signing the deal, but should be just a consequence.
Okay, great. And we all know that the specific role of the customer success is often at the crossroad of interaction with product owner, guys in charge of integration, training, sales, and so on. So they play, as you said, a major role to lead that orchestra.
Conductor, yeah.
And are they endorsed to settle the argument, the way to treat a client and so on, with the product owner, sales, and so on?
So some of them are endorsed. Some others are do not necessarily have the right profile to represent the product team, for example, in front of customers, which is absolutely fair. And the way actually we recruit our CSMs is also, I try as much as I can to have it as a diverse team and not have everyone coming, let's say, from a business school or from an engineering school or from marketing. We have all types of profiles on purpose, and this is what makes the company and the team super rich and the interaction between people super challenging. Because everyone has a diversity or a different opinion that can be challenged and can be shared, and it's interesting. So sometimes they are entitled to represent products. Sometimes they are entitled to represent support. But again, I think the core definition of CSM is being more the conductor, being next to the customer, being the friend of the customer, and represent the customers internally, and not, I don't prefer saying the customer is representing Contentsquare, let's say, or the company at the customer side. It's more an outside-in approach and a customer-centric approach and saying, hey, I'm the customer, I have the power, how can you help me in resolving my problems or improving my organization, rather than saying, hey, come and change everything the way you see it, and that's it, right? Okay. So we adapt ourselves to the culture as well.
So a real and crucial major role of CSM in your sales organization, and that brings us to the interface and interaction with the customer. So it's pretty much the CSM with all the interaction who will get feedback about the product, about requirements, about adding a new features, and so on. So how do you align that with your internal process? Is it in our roadmap? How are we going to align with our priorities? How do you collect, manage, and balance all the arguments?
Are we talking about the roadmap and the way we escalate customers' needs to improve the roadmap on the product, right?
To align the roadmap and all the feedbacks the CSM going to get with his customer.
So, this is something that I have put in place earlier 2018, so back in January, because I noticed there is a gap in the organization. And actually, we have what we call a customer success enablement team, whose job is to build a bridge between CSMs, or customer success organization, and the product. And this team is owning a product that is collecting feedback on product, right? Is owning a tool, sorry, that is collecting feedback on product. And this feedback is collected from customers as much as it can be collected from our sales who are meeting with prospects, or with our services team who are using the tool on a regular basis to deliver a service. This is one. Two, we have implemented two interesting processes in our customer journey, back to what I mentioned earlier, is what we call Immersion Days and what we call the User Club. So in the Immersion Days, actually, we go with like, believe me, we go with R&D, we go with product, we go with support, we go with CSM, and we go with sales, and so we spend the whole day with the customer. Like, we sit with executives, we sit with marketing, we sit with decision makers, and we sit with users. And with all of them, we review all their processes, they review our tool, or the features, and they suggest also features and improvements or integrations that we do not have, that we should have. So our VP of product is regularly in this meeting and is adding all these priorities in the roadmap, and there is a vote, or there is a priority, or we can also measure the weight of how we can improve the platform in order to improve retention, back to retention, and what's the weight of, or the risk that we have in the banner or in opposition to the feature. And very quickly, the last thing that I mentioned is the user club. Actually, every quarter in every country, in the 5 different countries that we have a user club that is managed and owned by customers. So Contentsquare is financing this club in renting the place and offering the food, but customers come in and they show their use cases and they share the way they use the tool or the challenges they face with other customers. We have a dedicated person who is the customer experience person, and we have our CSMs. And believe me also that and this event is forbidden for sales. So they don't come in to sell or to upsell, cross-sell, or whatsoever. It's only dedicated to customers and to CSMs, and to discuss the relationship should be for the product or for the experience globally.